This video is about putting together the final design. It's going to be a bit more technical than the last two parts, but stick around to the end to see the final reveal. We left part 2 looking at the designs from Designer 1 and 2. Designer 1 had gotten pretty lazy with the design and left out major details, while Designer 2 had declared war on the customer's taste just to make a statement.
This is Sparta!
Before we jump into Designer 3's process, be sure to like the video and subscribe. There are 3 essential phases to the design process. The first phase involves getting to know your customer and deciding on an approach for the design. The second phase is getting a preliminary design that addresses all of the needs of the customer based on the blueprints. The third is then revising where necessary, which should be minimized as long as the first 2 phases are executed correctly. Let's see how our third designer implements these phases in practice. The number one thing that distinguishes Designer 3 from Designers 1 and 2 is that they know exactly what they need from the customer before any cabinet boxes get placed. The big question is how.
Do exactly as I do. Exactly as I do.
Designer 3 has an outline for gathering information from their customer, which might look like this. How does the customer intend to use the kitchen? What features are non-negotiable? What's on the customer's wish list? What is their budget? What door styles and colors does the customer want? Answering each of these questions is essential in the process. In this particular example, our customer, Headwaters Development, is designing a model home to add value to the property and want a kitchen that is accessible to a broad population of homeowners. This also means that the non-negotiables are any features that add value and would be expected of a home in the community they're building in. The budget is reasonable but not necessarily the final decision maker. And lastly, their door styles and colors need to reflect the contemporary feel in alignment with the goals of the design. These were chosen by Catherine and Amelia. While going over all the initial design meetings, Designer 3 is also making notes on a copy of the kitchen blueprint so they don't overlook specifics in the final design. Note that the doors and colors were the last part of the information gathering from Designer 3. This is because some manufacturers cannot accommodate certain features, which then impacts the door styles and colors that might be available for the customer to choose from. First, we'd like to point out that we are using a dedicated CAD software to get these renderings, but do not need a specific CAD software to design a kitchen. In fact, there are free tools online to get things going, but it is really helpful to have one because they usually have built-in manufacturers' catalogs, including their pricing, which saves a lot of time and effort. At this point, the design process becomes a lot less sequential, but we have developed a checklist that you can use if you sign up for the Cabinet Bootcamp email list below. We're always sending out discounts, updates, and blog posts, so be sure to subscribe to receive these emails. Before we even start, we need to know our door styles and colors so that we use the manufacturer's catalog instead of a generic catalog. You'll thank yourself later, or rather when a customer decides to go with another color altogether. Before we place any cabinets, we're going to create our walls. This is where we take the dimensions from the blueprint and any red lines or notes that we made while we met with the designers, and we transfer these into our CAD program. In general, we want to place our most important pieces first. This means talls, corners, appliances, and alignments like centering the sink with the range. Then we start placing our other boxes, being conscious of the accessibility and functionality. This means having a strong work triangle between the refrigerator, cooktop, and sink. It is also important to work in sections. Some kitchens like this one will have multiple colors for separate sections, and when swapping door styles and colors, you don't want to be mixing and matching. For any additional features like glass inserts, drawer bases, etc., we want to work those at this point. Then finalize the box placements and make sure to double check any centers or alignments. Designer 3 seems to have their workflow figured out, which comes from both experience and practice. But if they stopped here, they still wouldn't be much better than Designer 1. This is where the details really come in. They still need to add the fillers, deco doors, and panels to address any unused space between the cabinets. Then there's the moldings, which are added top and bottom. That starts with the crown and riser molding, then the light rail and toe kicks. In some cases, if you're adding stacked uppers, you may have to add a barrier molding before the rest of your moldings. Lastly, there's the countertops, and then the design is ready to be rendered for the customer. Designer 3 is looking really proud of their kitchen, but they're not quite done yet. They still need to handle the last phase of the process. Revisions can be a smooth process or a massive nightmare. Designer 1 and 2 have been stuck in the revision loop for weeks, but Designer 3 had a single revision after being asked to update the crown to a different style and replace a standard base cabinet with a drawer base. They also had a final layout of the property and found that one of the dimensions was off, so they compensated for the discrepancy by changing a 33-inch base and wall cabinet to a 36. What else is Designer 3 doing right? Every email Designer 3 sends out has the following: renderings of the design, the changes they made, the new price. Seriously, don't forget about the budget. The last thing you need is the customer adding 7 revisions worth of changes only to add $10,000 to the final price tag. This is because each of those revisions nudged the price by about $1,500. Do not sticker shock your clients and always be transparent about your pricing. As you revise it, price it. In addition to customer communication, they were also sure to transfer any notes or problem points to an installation package for the installers to incorporate in the remodel. So to summarize, Designer 3 got all the information they needed from their client before they touched the CAD software and used it to inform the weights of each node of their design triangle. They checked off every essential of their design checklist when putting together their renderings and was sure to incorporate their work triangle. And lastly, they double-checked their layouts and dimensions and made sure to keep full transparency in the revision process. After one more follow-up with the customer and the installers, they can go out and find more customers, or they can take some time to hit the pool. Let's see how the final kitchen came out. Maybe you're looking at all of this and thinking, man, design seems a lot more like people work than I care for. I'd rather be the installer. Well, then we have the course for you, Cabinet Bootcamp, a course dedicated to giving you the knowledge to be a professional installer. Follow the link below for a discount on the course. If you're not sure, we do have a free sample available and a blog with tips on handling different install scenarios. Otherwise, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more kitchen and cabinetry remodel content. Let us know what you'd like to see in the comments down below, and as always, keep building.